All right, everybody. I'm really excited for you guys to listen to this episode. I just wrapped with Bob Riker, who is the head baseball coach here at Brother Rice High School in I guess it's Bloomfield Hills, technically Michigan. But you guys know that I moved, and maybe you don't know, but I moved to Michigan recently, and I work with DJ LeMahieu every single day in his baseball operations kind of department here. He owns a training facility and a Northwoods baseball team, summer ball team. And DJ's high school, Brother Rice High School, is a decorated Michigan high school powerhouse, and it's coached by Bob Riker, and that's who I sat down with. Bob is crazy decorated, 700 plus high school wins, sent over 90 guys to D1, 5 major leaguers. You know, the list goes on for craziness in high school baseball. But what I'm excited for you guys to listen to is listen to this man talk about the mentors, the influencers, the people in his life, his journey. Bob Riker, the human that talks about who he learned from and how that influenced the culture that he's created here at Brother Rice, which is not only a winning tradition, like I said, his 80% winning percentage, or 800% winning percentage, but also just the quality of humans that are around here and that have been cultivated through this Brother Rice system that he's created. It was really cool to listen to, get to know, be educated on. And for somebody who just moved to Michigan, I feel like I just got a huge education on the baseball history and the Brother Rice history in this area. So please enjoy, guys. And if you're a coach, a parent, a player, there's so many lessons here that you guys can take with you guys. And again, if you're from Michigan, you'll really enjoy this one. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Up and In Show. I've already done the intro, so I don't even know why I'm saying that again, but
That's all right.
Yeah. Anyway, Bob Riker, thank you so much for being here, dude. I'm excited to dive into your story because I've been here for 6 months now. I've known you for a long time through DJ LeMahieu, obviously our common connection here, but you're a legend here in Michigan, so I'm excited.
Legend's a pretty big word, but I wouldn't go there. But I've been around a long time. Longevity has a sense of making that kind of work. So you're here long enough, you win enough games, you lose enough games, and you get enough good players and stuff like that. So it's good. I feel good where the program is, and what we've done together. Yeah. And it's more than just one person for sure. I've had a group of guys around me that are second to none, and they've been loyal. So I've been very fortunate in that regard. So I've just been the guy that's at the top. So when things are going good, you get all the accolades. When things are going bad, you get all the crap. So, yeah. But it's been good.
But I've been around baseball a long time, and again, I've only been here 6 months, but got to see the end of the fall, and right when LEP season kind of wrapped up, and now transitioning into the winter, and what you've done, again, I know there's a lot of things that go on here, right?
Correct.
And a lot of people that help with this, but this program and the system and the culture here that you guys have created is pretty impressive.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I never wanted to coach, never wanted to teach. So I was a guy that went to Rice. I was a public school kid.
Are you from Michigan originally?
Yeah, I'm from Michigan. So I grew up. My parents grew up in Dearborn.
Okay.
And then
how far is that from here? So,
probably
again,
30 minutes south of here.
Okay. So Metro Detroit.
It would be considered kind of downriver a little bit.
Okay.
So they grew up there in 2 big families. My mom was the oldest of 9. My dad was the oldest of 7.
Holy shit.
Sports were pretty important. A lot of aunts, a lot of uncles, a lot of big people, family reunions and stuff. And then my dad worked for GM. Got transferred out to New York for like a year and a half, 2 years. And that's where I went to my first baseball game, was at Yankee Stadium.
What?
That was before they redid the old one that they just tore down.
Yeah.
So I remember going to the last game of that stadium, and we were, I could see Thurman Munson, Goose Gossett,
Do you know what
Sparky Lyle.
year-ish?
Oh, God.
That's so cool. Sorry, I'm a kid from Jersey.
Early 70s. So,
yeah, that's what I figured. I was going to say, it had to be
early
before
70s,
80s,
because I was
right?
born in 67. So,
Oh my God.
I was in, I think, first grade, second grade maybe.
First game at Yankee Stadium?
First game at Yankee Stadium, so I could see all those guys. And then at the end of the game, I remember walking out, and they were carrying bleachers. Like, people were carrying out, like, seats. They let all the the stadium let everybody take whatever they could grab.
No.
Because they were redoing that. So
You know I'm a memorabilia person too.
correct.
Dude,
Yes.
that's
So
crazy.
it was pretty cool. I remember.
I was
this-
going to ask if you had your ticket too.
No, I did not have my
Oh
ticket.
My gosh.
So that was cool. So that was the first that really kind of got me
Yeah, yeah.
started. And then we moved back here, moved back to Dearborn, and then we bought a house in Troy, which
Okay.
is where our complex is. And that's when I started playing baseball, and I was playing for my uncle. And he put me on a team where I was 2 years younger, so I was a guy that didn't know a lot about the game or anything like that. There's a story where I hit a ball and I ran to third instead of first. So
How old are you?
But I was probably second, third grade.
Okay.
When we moved back. So, but I loved playing, and then I ended up playing hockey and football as well. But then when we moved out to Troy, I was a Troy public school kid, and then I remember in 8th grade, my parents go, "You're going to take the entrance exam at Brother Rice." And I'm like, I don't want to go to Brother Rice.
All boys school, right?
All boys school.
Was it was all boys always?
All boys. And they're like, "Yeah, we're going to take the entrance exam just to see how smart you are." So I ended up doing really well in the entrance exam. Before you know it, I'm going to Brother Rice, and I did not like it. I mean, my first year, I would come back every day after school and literally walk in the door, and I was like almost in tears, like to my mom, like, "Hey, I do not want to go there. I don't know anybody. I didn't know anybody. All my friends were going to Troy, Athens." And I remember after about the second week, I walked in and I closed the door, and a box of Kleenex hit me in the head. And my mom had thrown it at me, says, "Hey, here's to wipe the tears away, because you're going to go there for 4 years, and don't even think about flunking out." So I knew right there I was stuck there. So my mom's pretty old school.
I just see like slow motion, like Bob walking
Right.
in the door
Dude,
with like a Kleenex in
That's a true
Literally.
story.
Oh my God.
True story. So, yeah, she just got tired of hearing me bitching and whining,
Wow.
and said, "Hey, you're
Here
going
you
to go
go.
there."
Here's for your
Right.
problems.
So
I'm not here anymore for your problems.
I really knew, though, I really did know that they knew better than I did. Because when I was a freshman at Central Michigan, playing baseball there, I was kind of looking around at all the other guys that were coming in my class, and I was the most prepared, not just as a player, but just as a person that was able to deal with being away on my own. The academics was easy for me, going to class, this and that. So I remember walking to class one day going, "I understand now, Mom and Dad, why you wanted me to go there." So I ended up
Pretty
playing.
cool realization. To
Yeah,
have
it
that
was.
in college.
It was because, but I had great coaches and great teachers at Brother Rice. Ron Cal coached me in baseball and in football.
Wow.
Coach Fracassa coached me in football. Eddie Jacobin, Hall of Fame goaltender from the Red Wings and the Rangers, he
way.
coached me in hockey. So I had
At Brother Rice,
at Brother Rice. So
What?
my last 2 years, I decided to not play travel, not play AAA, and play for them. And so I had Eddie Jacobin, and he was awesome. He was old school, great dude. But you have him, and you have Ron Cal, and you have Al Fracassa. Those guys are all legendary. So I was pretty fortunate.
Yeah. Had Brother Rice been sending guys to college baseball at this time?
Not really baseball, football. We were a football factory.
Okay.
Brother Rice was really kind of put on the map when we hired Al Fracassa from Shrine.
Gotcha.
And we were more of a football school. So when I was a freshman, and this was another reason why. So when I was a freshman at Rice, and I'd started as a 7th grader and 8th grader at quarterback, when I was a freshman at Brother Rice, I remember going to my first practice, and we had 106 guys. So we didn't even have enough uniforms. 106 guys. I'm not shitting you. I was one of 13 quarterbacks.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
No
so
way.
I was the third string quarterback, saw very limited playing
Third out of
time.
13, pretty good though.
Yeah,
That's good.
pretty limited. But we won. And then the next year, and this is my mom being tough again. My next year it was like August, and you start football in August, and I'm in bed. It's like 6:30. She wakes me up. I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Hey, you're going to football practice." I'm like, "I'm not playing this year."
Yeah.
I'm like, "We had so many guys. I was the third string quarterback." She's like, "You're playing." I'm like, "Mom, I'm not playing." She goes, "Then get out of the house." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, if you're not going to play, you're not going to live here." And I'm like, "I don't even have spikes." She goes, "I already bought you spikes."
Problem solved.
So she trucks me over. They moved up the first 2 quarterbacks to varsity, though.
Oh, my God.
So the starting quarterback, Doug Kaiser, he ended up starting as a sophomore on varsity as a free safety because he was very athletic. And then the second string quarterback, Alan Sidlowski, he became the backup to the starter on varsity as a sophomore.
Yeah.
So JV, I ended up starting. So had a great experience, played for Coach Shell Broadley He always smelled like peanut butter in the huddle. These
Why?
are
Was he
memories.
always
These are
eating
memories.
peanut
These are memories you remember though, because again, when you win and when you're with a group of guys, the camaraderie, you just never forget those
Absolutely.
guys. So we
really
won.
cool.
So then my junior year, I made varsity. And again, we had like 65, 68 guys, and we won the state title.
Holy shit.
So it was
How many
nice.
kids go to Rice? Or like,
So back then it was like almost 1,200.
Okay.
And the school was much smaller. So you had 40 kids in a classroom. If you
Okay.
got in the hallway going the wrong way, you had to go all the way to the end because you were in the, it was
flow.
like mass transit.
Yeah, yeah.
So now we got about 500, maybe a little bit over 500. So it's a
Total
little
in the
different.
school?
Demographics
Yeah.
is a little different.
Okay.
Families were bigger back then. Like
Gotcha.
I came from a family of 5, so
Yeah.
I was the oldest of 5. But yeah, a little bit smaller.
Gotcha.
But so that was good. So I had a good 4 years there, a good 3 years. The first year was tough for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a good student. I ended up getting like a 2.2 as a freshman and had to work my way the whole time up. It
When
was
was-
tough because I didn't. It was hard for me socially. I didn't know anybody.
Yeah, because
But playing the 3 sports, we're good.
Yeah, that always helps, right? But like, you went from public school to Catholic school, right?
Correct.
And that was the hard part. Was
And
like you
most
didn't
of
know
the
a lot of kids.
and most
yeah.
of the people there during that time in the 80s came from like Catholic feeder schools.
That's what I figured,
Now
yeah.
you got guys from all
All
over
over,
the
yeah,
place,
they're
all
coming.
over the place. So the public school infiltration is a lot greater.
But also, kids know each other nowadays on social media. They played on
Correct.
travel teams. You didn't have
Correct.
that shit. Like, it was so
Correct.
different, yeah.
Right, but my teachers were great. You know, Bro Mac was the best. He was our vice principal. I used to talk to him almost every day. He was great. Mike Popson coached football with us and was a biology teacher, and he was the athletic director. He was great. Those are the guys that I remember the most. And then, you know, coming back now as a teacher, you know, you got guys like Bro Sag, Bro Wilets. Those guys were very influential in me, and then the people I work with, and so it was good. But the 4 years was good there, and
When was baseball like your thing? Like, when did you?
So it was interesting. So I played 3 sports. So I remember
Yeah.
leaving football practice in the summer, early fall, and changing into my hockey gear, and then baseball started in the spring. I didn't even play travel ball till I was like a sophomore in high school.
Really? Baseball?
It was just a little different.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
I could
And when
always
you play all 3 of those sports,
Right, I
like,
could always
yeah,
throw,
and
though.
you're good. Yeah.
I could always throw.
Okay.
I wasn't the most athletic. I was about 5'0", 100 when I played. But I loved to play and I liked to work. And I was never indoors. We always played with the neighborhood kids, whatever sport we were playing during that year, whether it be football or
Yeah.
baseball or whatever. So, but I knew going into my junior year that baseball was kind of my ticket. The most fun sport was hockey, though, by far to play.
That was the most fun?
Most fun.
I never played hockey growing up. Yeah. Even in Jersey. Like,
No,
never
it's-
played.
It was fun. So, but I knew. So that's when I started to play hockey at Rice because it was less
Gotcha.
time consuming.
Gotcha.
So that's when I got to play for Coach
That was your
Jockman.
winter sport.
That was my winter sport.
Yeah.
Obviously football fall and
Yep.
then baseball spring.
Yep,
And then
yep.
I was a little different because I played freshman baseball as a freshman and I played JV as a sophomore. And I didn't make varsity till I was a junior.
Wow.
That doesn't happen much nowadays.
Yeah. Especially if you go D1 too, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, for the
So
most part, you're
I was
playing-
kind of a late bloomer. So I kind of have a special place in my heart as a coach for those guys
Yeah.
that know what they're doing
Yeah.
and are technically pretty sound, love to play. Those are the guys you like, the guys that love to play, and the guys that have to work their ass off
Yeah.
to get where they are. And then my growth spurt kind of hit in my junior year. I had a good junior year, and I played really well. And Coach Bershami, who had coached Bishop Gallagher, who won the state title, I believe, that year, they were unbelievable. He nominated me for All Catholic as a junior, and I only hit like 267. But he's like, this guy knows how to play. And I remember Ron Cal, our coach, telling me, he's like, hey, you're All Catholic. I'm like, what are you talking about? Or All League, one of the two.
Yeah.
And he said, Bershami loved you, and he loved the way you played. So that gave me a little bit of confidence. And I had a good summer. I picked up with a pretty good summer team, and that's when I started playing in a competitive summer team.
Yeah.
And then my senior year, I pitched and played the left side. And back in that day, we played league games double on Wednesday, double on Saturday, and Ron Cal would give you the ball and say, you know, you're not coming out. So, and he would do that every
figure it out.
Wednesday. So
Yeah.
I'd go every Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. So I was always pretty good about throwing.
Yeah.
And then I was fortunate enough to get not a lot, I got about 4 or 5 really Division II or smaller school offers.
Yeah.
Wayne State was one, UAD was another, Hillsdale, and I almost went to Hillsdale. But then there was a tryout camp up at CMU.
Okay.
And I always wanted to go to Central. And Central back in the day was like the school to kind of go to.
Okay.
Michigan had gotten into a little bit of trouble with recruiting and stuff. And everybody down here either wants to go to Michigan or Michigan State. And Michigan was the place you want to go. My buddy and I got scholarships to CMU. But then in the Catholic League finals, we played it at Tiger Stadium my senior year. He hit 2 home runs in the Catholic League game.
Oh my
Pretty
God.
cool, one off the upper deck.
Holy shit.
So Michigan signed him right away. So I was kind of bummed because he wasn't going to go to CMU with me, but I was happy for him because he was getting a chance to go to Michigan. But I'd gone to a tryout camp like 2 weeks before the season at CMU up in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
And it was a Dodgers camp. And it was run by Dale McReynolds, a scout, and Phil Sahara.
Okay.
And Dean Kriener was there, and then his assistant was Tommy Trash, who played for the Yankees. He was he played with Mickey Mantle and those
know that
guys.
name.
Great guy.
Yep.
Played for the Tigers a little bit too. Super good
Know
dude.
the name from Topps team sets.
Right. And Kriener was his second year at CMU. He was the assistant to, at that time, Dave Kylitz, who's a great guy. They all were. He became the AD, and he was the one that started to officially kind of like take notice in me when I was a junior.
Okay.
He had written me a letter saying, hey, we really like the way you play, blah, blah, blah. And then he got the AD job, and then Skip Kriener was the assistant, got the head job. So I'd gone up to that Dodger tryout camp, and I did really well. And I remember Skip calling me over, and he's like, hey, do you want to go to CMU? I go, hell yeah, I want to go to CMU. And he's like, I can offer you tuition for 1 semester, which was like $550.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm in. So I signed the contract in my summer gear.
I love that.
Right in the dugout. Went to a payphone. Those guys that are young, payphones existed back then. And I called my mom and dad and said, hey, I'm going to CMU. So, and it was 2 weeks later, I was at Mount Pleasant.
Awesome. Were your parents excited about that?
Yeah, my parents were really good.
How are academics at CMU? Is it good? Or?
It's not Michigan, it's not Michigan State, but it was okay. The funny part is like I said, I never wanted to teach or coach.
Right.
And they're known for teachers. Education. So I was a dumbass and did frickin' take advantage of that. I went into exercise physiology and minored in business. But ended up playing there, and we won. I got redshirted as a freshman because everybody that came in up there, because we were really good, got redshirted as a freshman. So I went there for
for so long.
Yeah, they didn't have rules. They didn't have rules like with rosters.
Right. So you could have a
we had
bunch
a
of guys
JV team,
exactly.
and I practiced with the varsity as a freshman, dressed for all the home games, and was very fortunate to be around guys like Kevin Tappaney, who won a World Series with the Minnesota Twins when Jack Morris went over there. He was a big time. He was a senior when I was there. And he was a senior. Dave Nash got drafted by the Giants. He played out in San Jose. I think he was the MVP that year. So he grew up in Sterling Heights. So I know a little bit of him from him. But Jeff Drozdowski, another senior. Bobby Cavanaugh, another senior. Those guys kind of took care of the young guys.
Nice.
So when I got here as a coach, I made sure that my older guys took care of the younger guys and did treat them like peons. So back to the original thought, my experiences and what I had to do kind of dictate how I coach. And I just try to treat players like I would want to be treated as a player, and don't ask them to do anything that you haven't already done or aren't willing to do.
Yes.
And just treat them like a player, and know that you're here for them. And they come here to go on and experience what I did, go on and play in college, and hopefully beyond that, like I was fortunate to be able to do. And so my big thing has always been the player, developing him as a better player, but more importantly as a better person. And we've been pretty successful, and it's because of the coaching staff that I've had. I mean, I know Ron Cal came back to coach with me, my old coach.
That's so awesome.
To coach his youngest son, Tim Cal. I've had Dan Petrie, whose son played for me. Dan came and coached with me for 3 years, and then I coached with him in the summer. He's the most humble world champion that I've ever been around. I mean, he's great. So I've been very fortunate. And then, the guys throughout the ranks, Brian Kalzinski, Joe Kalzinski, Doug Pickens, and A lot of my former players are guys that I've coached. Mike Steele, who we brought over a couple years ago, has been great. One of my summer guys that I coached 7 years with, Tommy Hennig, who you've met. Yep. He's added a whole new dynamic to our program. So those guys have been great. And then former players like Chris Faust and Kyle Galley. And, we've got a couple teachers that have been in the school that like baseball and played in college, so like Kevin Kryzak, and Jason Kalmesian. So I would trust those guys with my kids. Yeah. And the funny thing is I don't even have sons. I have two daughters. So, but if you're one that, if I'm no longer around and I would let you be around my kids to raise them, then that's good enough for me to be around my players and things like that. Wow. So
I love that.
It's been good. Yeah, it's been good. I've been pretty lucky.
Yeah, you have. And again, all those names you just ran out that I've met here, everybody here has treated me like gold. So again, and that starts from the top down and what what you guys instilled.
Treat people like you want to be treated, and they'll do the same.
Absolutely.
Right.
Did you get a chance to play after Central Michigan?
Yeah, so I was a fifth-year senior, and I remember it was in the fall, and they had a scout day, and they brought in a guy, I want to say his name is Dick Purnell. It was Dick.
By the way, your names...
I'm pretty good.
I'm pretty good with people, though.
So
that's such a skill set.
Yeah, so he came in and talked to us about the draft, and he's like, hey, do you guys have any questions? And me being, like I said, at that time I was 6 foot nothing, probably about 190 pounds. I raised my hand and said, hey, how'd you guys recruit pitchers without a radar gun before? And he kind of looked at me, and Skip looks at me like, you dumbass, why are you doing this? Because I was a guy that was like upper 80s, but I could pitch. I could throw strikes. I could spot within the zone. Had a really good changeup because you weren't able to pitch at CMU unless you could throw a changeup. You could throw 95, but if you couldn't throw a change, they weren't putting you in.
Good. I wish more pitching coaches.
So he's like, hey, we use a stopwatch. And I go, well, wouldn't it be like if you can just get guys out? Isn't that the name of the game? And I was kind of being like one of those fifth-year seniors.
Yeah.
So the guy put me in to be drafted. So he put me in to be drafted. He put me in my name on the card. I had a really good junior year, and I didn't even pitch until I was a junior. I got recruited. I got recruited as a shortstop.
I remember you saying that.
Recruited as a shortstop, but I ran like a third baseman. I was a punch and Judy hitter at best. I didn't strike out much, but I could always throw. So there was a day where we were indoors, and one of the pitchers wasn't there. So they're like, "Hey, Riker, you threw in high school." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Get on the mound." I remember throwing. This was as like a freshman.
Yeah.
And you threw for like 5 minutes to however many batters. And I remember the older guys are like, "Man, why don't you throw?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I came up as a shortstop." Yeah. And then the one guy, I remember telling me, he's like, "Hey, you're going to be a guy that's going to end up being a pitcher." So my freshman year at CMU, like I said, we dressed for all the games.
Yeah.
And so we had like 40 guys in the freaking dugout. And I knew I wasn't going to play, so you're just kind of sitting there and you're just watching the game. And I remember Tapani, who's a senior, first or second round draft pick, 2 years in a row, didn't sign his junior year, came back for his senior year. Little guy from Escanaba, but he could freaking hawk. Mid-90s. He's like, "Hey, striker." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Hey, come here and sit." So I sit next to him on the bench. He's like, "Hey, what would you throw right now?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Hey, this guy's batting. You're on the mound. What would you throw?" I'm like, "I don't know." He goes, "You better figure it out." So he kind of made me think about those types of things. And this is a guy who's 4 years older than me, and he doesn't. I'm like a peon,
right?
But he took
and
time.
You're not even going to be on the team.
He took time to educate me on, hey, this is what don't just be sitting in the dugout. You got to kind of think about you could be facing that guy down the road. So I've kind of brought all those experiences with me and try to teach the guys how to play the game. So my biggest compliment as a coach would be if I got one, would be I've had umpires tell me, he's like, "You guys know how to play the game right." So I walk away feeling pretty good about that. So
absolutely,
just try to do the right thing. But I did get a chance to play. So I got drafted. When Dick put me up for draft, I got drafted 39th round.
Nice. By who?
By the Tigers. So I remember being in Ann Arbor, and I got a phone call, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to play some more baseball?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want to play some more baseball." He goes, "Well, we're thinking about drafting you." So about 5 minutes later, they call me. "We took you in the 39th round. We're going to come by your house in a couple days." They came with a check for $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
And a road map. It said, "Hey, you're going to Bristol, Virginia, and we want you to take this high schooler who's a 5th round from Willow Run because you're older, We trust you and kind of take him under your wing when you take care of him when you're down there. And I'm like, all right. So I took him down there. But Clyde Weir came to my house. Wow. He was a scout, God rest his soul. Great guy, still run into him. I don't know how many years after he signed me, just had great conversations with him. Just a great guy. He came to my house, signed me, and I got a chance to play some baseball. So I played short season in Bristol. Okay. Then went to spring training. Yep.
Was it back in Lakeland?
Down in Lakeland, yep. Living in a dorm. I remember going to breakfast, seeing Al Kaline and those guys. They were all down there. Oh, my God. So it was pretty cool. Yeah. And then you get the tap on the shoulder, hey, Coach Petroff wants to see you, the director of player development. And you kind of like, okay, you kind of see the writing on the wall. And you walk down there and you sit down in his office. And I remember the first words I do. He's like, son, do you have a college degree? I go, as a matter of fact, I do. He goes, that's perfect. Would you rather drive home or fly home? Because we're releasing you. I said, if you could fly me home, that would be great. So it was all good though, dude. I went way further than I ever thought I was. Right. Wow. Probably, I know I went way further than a lot of the guys I played with thought I was. Yeah. So, so it was cool. I put in a lot of time, and I could look myself in the mirror and say, you know what? I gave everything I had, left everything on the table. There's nothing in the tank. There's nothing more that I can do. I just wasn't good enough. Wow. And it was pretty cool. So I got a chance to do that. And the one thing I remember most about that is I remember my first game pitching in spring training. Bo Schembechler, the legendary coach at Michigan, was now the GM.
For the Tigers?
Because Monahan, his buddy who owns Domino's Pizza, bought the Tigers.
Oh, my God.
So they brought him. So we got a football guy running the baseball program with Detroit. Shit. So one of the things after you threw, they made you go to the weight room. And then they had the weight guy from Michigan that they brought in. Oh, my God. I remember walking in, and I'm walking by myself, and I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, there's Dave Bergman, who's legendary with the Tigers. 13 pitch at bat against the Blue Jays to win it. Alan Trammell.
Oh, my God.
Those two working their ass off. And then I remember looking, and I see Lou Whitaker. He's sitting on a bench. Cecil Fielder walks in.
No way.
Cecil Fielder walks in. He sits on a bench. Then I look over at the life cycles, and there's Dan Petrie. He's working his ass off, sweating like crazy, trying to make kind of a comeback. I think he went to Atlanta for a little bit. And right next to him was Tom Selleck, the guy Magnum PI. Yeah. Now, Selleck is a Tiger fan. He was like a very small minority owner of the Tigers, I believe. Yeah. So he was training for that baseball movie he did over in Japan.
That's what I was going to say.
That's how old I am.
I was going to ask if it was.
So here I am trying to work out, and I'm in awe of all these guys that I watched play and win the 84. Right? Yeah. So, like I said, I've been pretty fortunate.
That's such a fucking cool
with the people that I've had to come in contact with. I owe a lot to the game. Wow. Mostly for the relationships, and then it's just continued tenfold with being a coach, just the players that you get, and the players come back. Like Christmas was great. I mean, I could have gone and done some things, but I stayed in town just to see all the old guys come back. They're still playing college, or some that are playing in the minor leagues. I can truly say that I've never sold my soul to anybody except my players. Wow. And that's what I try to do. So you just try to stay true to them. And I don't want to say I live through them, but it keeps me saying I'm going to go back and do another year. Because every year I try to evaluate and say, hey, do I want to continue to do this? And early on when I had my two daughters, I would talk to them and say, hey, you know, it's a lot of time away from you. And they're like, no, Dad, you're the coach. Brother Rice, we love you being the coach at Brother Rice. We want you to continue to do that. So they've been a big reason why I've kept going too. So, and they're now 27 or 28 and 26, between those ages. So it's been pretty cool. I've been pretty fortunate.
Yeah. But that kind of rolls into the next part of this. You know, your resume on the coaching side of things is pretty impressive. You know, over 700 career wins. Might be, is it 800 yet?
No,
800 for this year, maybe
so.
next year.
No,
but anyway,
could be.
State championship. You know, Coach of the Year, Catholic League, double-digit times, all the accolades. How did the coaching career start? Was it directly after pro ball?
Well, it's funny because I remember when I was a kid, and like I told you about my mom, I had played a bad game, and she was like lighting me up in the car. She goes, that's okay. She goes, you're going to be a way better coach than you are a player anyways. And I looked at her, and I was so pissed. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So I never thought about coaching, never thought about teaching. When I got released, they flew me back home, and I was living in Ann Arbor, and I drove the next day to Brother Rice to see Ron Cal, my old coach, Ron Kalzinski. And obviously it was right before spring training broke, so it was like April, early April, late March. And I said, hey, Ron, thanks for everything. I appreciate all the support, everything that you've given me. I just want you to know I got released. I'm done playing. I'm engaged to get married. I've got a degree. Going to start working. And I had been working in the off season with my degree anyways at a fitness center up in Ann Arbor in Ypsilanti. James Henderson, great job. Jeff Gove, great job. They hired me and let me do that and train there as well in the off season, which is cool. Total Fitness Concepts was great.
Love it.
I think it was the Chippewa Club over by Eastern Michigan's baseball field.
Yeah.
But anyways, they gave me my first real job. But he's like, hey, you want to help me coach? And I'm like, no. and then I went back to Ann Arbor and I thought about it for a day. And I'm like, you know what? He's done a lot. He's coaching by himself. I came back. I said, I'll help you coach. So that's how I got started.
Wow. Assistant coach.
Assistant coach under my old coach. Little did I know that
You know what year that was?
That was 1990.
Okay.
1990. 1991, something like
Okay.
that. So little did I know that part of my coaching would be at the end of every practice, he's like, hey, you're in good shape. You just got released and this and that. He goes, can we scrimmage and would you throw? I'm like, all right. So I go out there, I throw, get 1, 2, 3, start walking. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, no, you got to throw for both teams. I'm like, all right. So every day I throw 7.
What
for
the
both
hell?
sides against. And now his second oldest son, Brian Cal, who is like my brother.
Yeah.
They're all like my brothers, all the
Yeah,
Cals. He was a freshman on that team. And
This is so cool to know this now.
Right.
And like
So
know all the people. This is
so
really
this
cool.
was like 92.
Okay.
Now, this was 92, so it was the next year. And we won the state title.
No way.
And I remember them interviewing a few of the players, and they said, we never faced anybody better than our coach.
Yeah.
And so we owe a lot of credit to them. So I kind of felt like part of something.
Yeah, exactly.
And Ron never treated me like an assistant.
Yeah.
He was great.
Wow.
Was still nervous as hell around him just because I played for
Respect
him.
and,
There were times where I was a player for him who wasn't very good, and he would lay into me. So you're still kind of tentative.
PTSD a little bit.
So we ended up winning 92 and then 94.
Wow. And so that's Joe and Brian who.
Joe and Brian, yeah.
Brian,
I think was the first guy to win 2 state titles in baseball.
That's so badass.
Yeah,
Let's go.
so Brian played short, Joe played catcher.
That's awesome.
So I've known them since they were this big.
Very cool.
Haven't played football, and they would come to all the games when I was a
Yeah.
player. But so I did that for 8 years, and I remember we got knocked out in the regional my 8th year as an assistant.
And so when you say you've done this for 8 years, you're pitching 7 innings for 8
No,
years.
not the whole 8. Not the whole 8.
I know.
But
I no way.
I would throw a ton, and he would throw BP too.
Yeah.
But I would throw like live. So I
it
was
sounds
still,
like I'm
I was
throwing
still
live.
throwing without live L screens or anything like that. So
I'm
those
throwing to
guys-
the boys this year. That's what you're saying.
So those guys, yeah, you could do that. So those guys in there give me shit. They're like, hey, how do you throw like that? I'm like, listen, I didn't always throw like that. I'm almost 60 years old, dude.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I could still throw, but I remember we got knocked out in I think the regional, and we're driving back to school, and we're unloading all the equipment at the school, and Ron goes, I'm done. I go, yeah, it's nice to be done. You enjoy the summer. He goes, no, I'm done coaching. I go, so am I. He's like, no, you're not. I go, what? He goes, no. He goes, I'm done coaching. I'm going to get a chance to go see Brian, who was at Michigan, and Joe, who was at Michigan State. It's the only time he's going to get to see them play against each other in college. I go, that's great. I go, but I'm done too. He goes, I only did this because of what you did for me. And if you're not coaching, I don't want to coach. And he's like, no, you're coaching. He goes, I already got it all worked out. The AD, Mike Popson's already agreed. I go, well, I got a teaching degree. I'm trying to find a job. He goes, you're going to teach biology in Mike Popson's room. You're going to be in his old room. He's going to be full-time AD. He's not going to teach anymore. I'm looking at him like, no, I'm not. He's like, listen, motherfucker.
He's like, I already did
He said it just like that. He's like, listen, motherfucker. He goes, it's your time to give back. And I was like, you cannot lay that on me. He goes, well, I am. It's your time to give back. There was always someone there for you when you were a player. Now it's your time to give back. So I think about that every time I pull into this complex.
Bob, I got chills.
Yeah, that's how I became. And that's the type of guys I was around, though.
Wow.
Like, that's why being around a guy like Ron, being around a guy like Albert, being around a guy like Mike Popson, Bro Mac, You can't put a price tag on those things.
Wow.
And you might not know what they're doing when they're doing it to you, but you know later on when you become an adult. And I take that to heart every single day.
Wow.
So whether it be helping out at the complex here, whether it be helping out with lessons, whether it be helping out with Warrior Baseball, and how Warrior started was a total freak thing. That's another really good story if you want to ask about that.
Wow.
So the next year, 98, I became a first-year teacher because I'd gone back to school after 2 years of coach with him to get another degree, paid my own way, went to Wayne State, got a master's, teach biology, chemistry, physics.
What was the master's in? Was it in teaching?
Master's in teaching, but I had to take other classes to be able to teach. I just didn't want to be a coach that taught gym. Nothing against coaches that taught gym. But I wanted to teach science because that was my first degree, exercise phys. So I really liked biology and chemistry and physics. So I did that. And then graduated, did my student teaching, got hired in 98 as a teacher, teaching biology. Had my first daughter, Julia.
Wow.
And now I'm the head coach.
Holy shitballs. That's
So, right. So
life just like cranked up really quick.
And the first year I said, you know, I'm going to do this by myself. I coached by myself.
No, really?
And I cut 4 or 5 guys from the year before. Now, I don't say that because I wouldn't have kept them the year before, but I wasn't the head coach.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I was looking for certain types of guys that I knew that were going to be like my type of guys.
Yeah.
That I could deal with, I could develop, and could win. So I carried 11 on my team.
11
on varsity.
What?
So the seniors come in and they're like, dude, you let this guy go, you let this guy go. I remember it like it was yesterday. And in the locker room, I would talk to each individual guy. And one guy's like, dude, I started like every game. I'm like, yeah, we don't need you this year. So, and we ended up winning. So we won and made it to a regional. And I think we launched the Henson in Brighton, Drew Henson. I think it was that year.
Damn.
In 98. Anyway, we were successful in one. So then the next year, it wasn't that year, my bad.
Okay.
But we won, and we were very successful for what we did. The next year I had 5 freshmen come in that were really good. And nobody in our league ever put freshmen on varsity. Yeah. And I'm now coaching against guys that I was a player when they were coaching.
Right.
And I remember them come up and like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, you can't keep freshmen. I go, you do your program,
Yeah,
I'll do my program. So for the first 2 weeks, though, when I first took over, my AD comes down and he's like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, if you don't want me to do this, then tell me. He's like, just tell me what you're doing so I can defend and be on the same page. Yeah. I go, okay, I'm keeping these guys. This is what we're going to do. Next year, they come in 5 freshmen. I keep 5 freshmen. Yeah. And we win. That was the Petrie group with Lenz and Kirschenheiter, Vitas Ray, Kyle Hoover. They came in, and then the next year I had 5 more freshmen.
Oh, my God.
And I kept those guys. That was Tim Cal, Doug Pickens, Max Kelmesian. I forget the other one. He's going to kick me in the rear. Kirschenheiter, Mike Kirschenheiter. There might have been another one. But anyways, I had like 9 guys that were freshmen and sophomores. By the time those guys were juniors and seniors, we went undefeated in the Catholic League.
Oh my God!
Yeah, we were pretty good. So,
like,
so then guys started to bring up younger guys.
Yep.
But the older guys kind of knew too. Just because you're older doesn't mean you're guaranteed anything.
I love that. Yeah.
And I had people that would always come up to me like, "How are you playing Pickens? He's a freshman." I'm like, "He's one of the best players that I've ever had in my career. Yeah. Why would I penalize him just to play a kid who's older because he's older?" Now, if the roles were reversed and you're Pickens' mom and dad, wouldn't you be PO'd?
Yeah.
Right. Talent dictates everything.
Love that.
And that's what I've always stayed true to. So, which I didn't know was going to happen, but it was a good thing. Guys that were 8th graders and 7th graders, like, that's where I want to go if I'm a good player, because that dude will play me right away.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we've been very fortunate. And all the wins and all the championships and all the stuff that some people still don't think we have enough championships, and you guys know who you are. You need to be a little more state title, but I'm not really driven by the wins.
No, and that's
not really driven by the championships. Right. Really driven by developing the player as a player and as a person. But all those guys have come in and gotten better not only as players but as people. So I've been fortunate to have really good players. And a lot of people say, hey, you recruit this and that. My recruiters are my players. When they leave, they pretty much leave happy.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. And that's kind of how our complex goes. That's kind of how our lessons go.
That's
kind of how
literally
our
what I've
words
seen.
go. Right.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. I don't need to market. People kind of know what you get when you come here, and sometimes you got to watch what you wish for. But don't come here if you're just coming for baseball. You got to take the whole package with the school.
But that is, and that is what you see, because as I've moved here, right, like DJ has allowed me to, be in his network and say, hey, I can introduce you to people. That Brother Rice network, the quality of humans and the people and the families that they've produced that I've met, that's the cool part.
And that stems from those guys I talked about earlier, the Bro Max, the Mike Popsons, the Jim Radamakers, the Frank Carricos, the Leslie DeSimones, all the teachers, Sue Joneses, all those that were there. They were tough. I mean, they did things based on tough love. And that's one of the things, and I can talk about this for 2 hours, that's one of the things that our kids don't get today.
Yeah.
And that's a big detriment, because life is going to get tough.
Yes.
And you'd rather it be tough when they're younger, because the problems aren't as big.
Yes.
When they're older and they've got a wife and they've got kids and they've got a mortgage and they've got a job, those mistakes now are much larger.
Wow.
And you have a lot more people counting on you. So the tough love aspect in our whole society, I think, is lacking compared to what it was when I grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's not that they didn't love you. It's not they didn't care about you. They actually cared about you and knew what you were going to embark upon, and knew what was going to get thrown at you, and they wanted to make sure you could handle
Correct.
that. So
how do you do
that's
that?
how I teach. So I'm kind of old school.
So how do you do that? Like, for coaches that are listening, or parents that are listening, like, how do you instill that tough love in today's generation with these
Don't
kids?
be their buddy. Don't be their buddy. It's not about don't be their buddy. You have to not care if they like you. I'm not here to be liked. I'm not here to be your buddy. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to help you grow as a person and as a player, as a student. I'm here to help you achieve your goals. Work hard. Consequences for every action.
Wow.
And you just do the right thing. Do the right thing. The one thing I would say for new teachers is you don't want to be too nice early, because it's much more difficult to be too nice than to be too strict, because they'll walk all over you.
Yeah.
Just do the right thing. And everybody knows what the right thing is, but the right thing is usually the more difficult thing to do.
That's the hard,
and people take the easy path. I hear our kids in class all the time, work smarter, not harder. Well, there's a lot to say for working hard. Absolutely. I'm not saying work dumb, but I'm just saying, when you talk about work smarter, hey, am I going to use AI? Am I going to use ChatGPT or whatever the hell it's called? Or am I going to actually sit down and put pencil to paper with my own thoughts and do those things? And I'm not going to go to the internet and go surf this or do that. We tend to do things a little differently than we did back then. And I'm not saying things aren't better now. There's a lot of things that are better.
Yeah.
They just need to be used in a manner that's in the right way,
Absolutely.
in my opinion. So I'm kind of a tough love guy. The kids give me a hard time. They laugh and they like to get me riled up, because I am kind of easily riled up. But they know I care about them, because they care about me. So it's a mutual. I would do anything for them. They would do anything for me. And the biggest thing that I do as a teacher is I let them have a voice and I listen. I don't always agree with them, but I at least let them listen.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys that, hey, because I said so.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys. So, like I said, I just try to treat people like I was treated. And I was treated pretty good when I was a kid and pretty good when I was an adult. And like I said, I've been pretty fortunate.
No, absolutely. I saw this, I don't know if this is up to date and accurate, but nearly 100 guys to Division I, other programs after high school.
I think we've had over 120 go play college. Not
Okay,
necessarily
that's
all
what I
D1,
right,
but we've had a lot of guys go.
I saw the number was like 90 D1. So that's pretty impressive in general.
Some probably got scholarships to D1. They probably didn't deserve D1, but because they came from here, and you coaches know, I told you, I don't know if I'd take him. He might not be, he's more of a D2 guy, but because I try to be honest with the coaches too, because again, you want to give a kid wants to go play, I get it. You want to go to college, you want to go here, you want to go there, but you want to go to a place where you play. You played, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine going to a school where you weren't playing?
No.
You'd rather go to another school and play.
Yeah.
And it might be of a lesser, it might be a D2, it might not be, it might be a mid-major rather than in a Power 4 conference. You want to go play and experience that college athlete experience. So I try to And I'm pretty good at saying, hey, you should probably do these schools. You should probably do these schools. You can maybe reach for this school. So, that to me, that's how I measure my success. It's not by wins. It's not by Catholic League titles. It's not by state titles. Those are all nice. Those things take care of themselves if you develop the player and the players buy into your system. And the system is simple. Work hard every day. And when you walk through that door, if you got 25 guys on your roster, you're number 25 on the list. And everybody else is in front of you. If you're number one, we're going to lose.
Yeah.
We're going to lose.
And I love that. And that's the culture in the system is what it's built on, right? And that's why you have the plethora of wins and the winning percentage is 80%, whatever it is, right? And in high school baseball, you run into one good arm and that could be the reason you don't win a state championship.
Right.
But to me, it's the body of work over 30, however many years.
This will be my 38th season.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 38th season. I never would have thought this. I wouldn't change a day though. So no, I think I could go. Let's see. I'm going to be 59 here in March. One of my buddies asked me the other day, "How long are you going to go?" And I don't really think about it in that terms, because shit can happen really fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Physically. And I remember with my CMU buddies, and I'm really tight with my CMU buddies. We got about 25 guys that I could call at any point, and if I said, "Hey, I need you here right now," they would even ask why. They'd just be here, and they know that I would do that for them. So there's a bond there, and the winning kind of created that bond, and we went through a lot of stuff together. So we still get together quite a bit.
That's really cool.
But they asked me like, "How long are you going to go?" And I'm like, "I don't really have a time frame. I don't want to say like 5 years, 10 years." It's if I'm still doing a good job, if I'm still connecting to the kids. And I can still do some of the things. Now, there might get a point where I'm just basically unaware, and that's my number one biggest fear, is being unaware of not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
Whether it be with your team, whether it be in your classroom, whether it be with your coaching staff. Unaware makes me feel like I'm just foolish and dumb. So I have a pact with a few guys. I'm like, if I ever look like that or do that,
what it looks like, motherfuckers.
Right. You have the right to gut me and dump me somewhere. So, you just don't want to do that. So as long as I can do it, I'm going to do it. People often say, when are you going to retire? I'll probably never retire. There's always going to be something like I could always come to the field house and help out, because I can still see and I know what you need to do certain things, and I can say, hey, that's good, no, that's not good, we need to figure that out. So I'll always be involved in it, and having the youth baseball organization with Warrior is crazy, because we have like 19 teams, I think, from 8U all the way up to 17U. So that was kind of a goofy story.
Yeah, you want to tell that story really quick before we let you go?
Yeah, so it was funny. So when we built this complex, we played on the shittiest park.
Yeah.
No grass.
This is where DJ played, right?
No grass, no outfield fence, PlayStation in center. Not a PlayStation, but a playground in center. Tennis courts in left.
One of those ones where you hit the ball and it just keeps rolling, and it's like, if it goes far enough,
and they had an overhang over the backstop, because we played in Birmingham, and the people didn't want the balls in their house, in their front yard, so you never got infield pop-ups. It was all slag. The backstop was like 7 feet behind home plate, so you couldn't even go on pass balls. So I'm sitting at home in Christmas, and I get a phone call. My daughter Julie answers, like, "Dad, it's for you." So I get on the phone. She's like, "Hey, this is Coach Riker," and he's like, "Hey, my name's Derek Stevens." He's like, "Hey, I've got a foundation, and I want to, I got some extra money left over, and I want to donate some money to your program. Do you guys take donations?" I'm like, "Absolutely." I said, "Do I know you?" He's like, "No, I got a 5th grader. He goes to Sacred Heart," and I go, I taught at Stevens. He goes, "No, we're no relation. I live out in Grosse Pointe, and I really like baseball, and we're the same age." So I think he said he graduated in '85 from Grosse Pointe South. I said, "Yeah, and your donation would be great." And he's like, "Yeah." I go, I think I would buy like new uniforms for the freshmen. They always get the hand-me-downs. I'd give them something new. Yeah. It's like, "Well, I think you can get a little more than uniforms." And I'm like, "What dollar amount are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, I was going to throw you 50 grand. And I'm like, "All right, which motherfucking friend from CMU put you up to this?"
Somebody's fucking over here.
Right. Yeah. And he's like, "Excuse me?" I'm like, "You're not one of my CMU buddies pulling a prank on me?" Because we used to do that.
Yeah, of course.
He's like, "No. And I'm like, "Oh, well," I said, "Well, that's very generous of you." And I said, I rather than buy anything, I want to go to the school and see if I can put this aside to maybe create a fund to build a place not imagining this.
Yeah. Just
And
something that could
he
have
said it was
grass.
great. So then like 2 weeks later, he called me. He's like, hey, can you meet for breakfast? And he asked me what I wanted. And I said, I don't want anything. He's like, no, what do you want in a program? I said, a place where kids would come and they'd never want to leave once they were here. And he's like, what do you think that would cost? And then now fast forward, now you have a place like this with a lot of other people chipping in, but Derek was the first guy. And one of the guys was Van. Van came in and he's like, I'm going to kick in. So he put money into that pot. But he made a stipulation. He gave him 200 grand. He made a stipulation saying, you got to use it within a year or I'm taking it back.
Gotcha. Wow.
So they took their time buying the land, the school. Because all the money I raised went to the school.
Yeah.
So at a year, he walked in the office. He goes, I want my money back. And he made me go with him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And he's like, they signed over a check, $200,000, and he handed it to me. He goes, I want you to start a youth baseball program for young kids.
Oh my God.
That's how Warriors started.
No way.
100%, dude. Never asked for really a single dollar from anybody. But again, if you treat people right and you do right by them and their kids, you know, stuff comes back tenfold.
Holy
so like I
shit,
said,
man.
I've been very fortunate, and
That's
like
really
I said, I wouldn't change a day. It hasn't all been good in my life, but those good things outweigh the bad things by a lot.
And the cool part is, and I kind of saw this year, and I'm still getting to know you as a person, you know, day to day. But this is your safe place too, right? Like when things are.
Yeah, if people ask me where you feel most comfortable, on the diamond.
Yeah.
On the diamond in a uniform, and
Yep.
a lot of times I feel out of place everywhere else.
Yep.
That you don't fit in. As a kid, I was kind of excluded a lot, and I always was on the outside looking in. So I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for those types of kids. And as a teacher, that's helped me, and it's helped me in college because when I was voted captain up at CMU as a junior, which had never, I don't think, ever been done. I always made sure that the last guy was always with us too, whether we went out to a party or went out to whatever. You wanted them to make them feel like they were part of something because everybody had a unique role, and I learned that again from my experience. When I was a junior, I was the scout team quarterback on the varsity football team at Brother Rice, and we won the state title that year. And we used to get our ass kicked as the scout team against our #1 defense. But every game that we won on Saturday night, and we'd go back to the clubhouse or back to the locker room, all those defensive guys, Mike Lodish, Dave Bosrico, all those guys would come up to you and say, hey, thanks for the week's work, man. Wow. So you felt like you were part of something. And we still talk to those guys. I mean, we had our 40-year reunion 2 falls ago, and we had probably 50, 60 guys come back. You know, Dane Rogers, Doug Kaiser, Sidlowski, all those guys. Those guys are like etched in my brain. So I've been, like I said, pretty fortunate.
I think it's so cool too, just like sitting here, you know, and you always hear this, that some of the best coaches come from players that had to grind. Like, it wasn't handed, they weren't the best players. But just even hearing your lessons of like, man.
Dude, I was cut from teams,
And
hockey,
just being-
baseball, I played freshman as a freshman. So when a freshman comes here and is pissed he's playing JV, I'd be like, you're talking to the wrong dude,
I promise
man.
you. Like,
Because
let me tell you
played
my story.
freshman,
Yeah.
And I played for a guy who was a baseball guy,
But
but
that
he wasn't a baseball.
relatability is so like important to a culture too, to an
Right.
organization.
But that doesn't mean, though, if you were a really, really good player that was gifted, that didn't have to grind, couldn't be a good coach too. So,
100%.
But again, there's experiences that I've had to go through that have helped me most definitely as a coach.
And just even hearing those cool things of like the
100%.
little things of like remembering the wins on Friday, Saturday night, you know, and the work in the week, and you're like, damn, like that was cool to be a part of. And I want to make sure that when I coach or when I'm the leader,
that those guys understand that.
That's
and
freaking
that's
cool,
and one of my mottos has always been leave it better than you found it. And when I'm done, whenever that might be, I think I'm leaving it better than I found it. Not that it was bad before. So and 2 years ago, you know, the moms got together and we had probably our best record team, and it could have been the best team ever. I don't really want to say it was the best team ever, but record-wise, 43-2. Those guys left me a big sign, and the quote was, "Leave it better than you found it." And they all signed it, and it's in the locker room. So you like to leave a little piece of everybody that's come through, and you want them to feel like they're still part of it, even though they might not be here 10 years down the road. So it's been pretty cool.
Well,
Pretty
I just
cool.
want to let you know, we're going to wrap up on that note. But you've done that job, man. I'm just going to let you know you have a lot more work to do, but you've done a great job. For somebody coming from LSU that has a crazy tradition down there, it's been fun to come back here, feel like there's something here to be a part of, and that I'm lucky to be
Well,
kinda
we're happy
fall
to
into
have
that
you, and we're
way.
lucky to have you too, because you got a lot of good stuff to offer as well. You know, with your experience and background, and it's all who you surround yourself with, and it's you become who you are, and who you hang with. And we have a really good tight knit unit of guys, and you're a great fit. So we're happy to have you.
It's been great. Thank you.